This is a GI map. Let's
That's so
just kind
cool.
of go through this. Pathogens. And like we said before, we don't need to get into the weeds on the numbers or the actual bugs. We want to see high level, big picture. So we've got some bacterial pathogens here, parasitic pathogens, H. pylori in the duodenum, which used to be a surgical disease, commensal or keystone bacteria. These are the good bugs. Dysbiosis or overgrowth bacteria. So this whole area represents dysbiosis, and pretty much so does yeast. You can think of all this together. Opportunistic microbes and fungi yeast as dysbiotic. The dysbiotic program, the supplements we use are the same for both of these, is what I'm trying to say. Viruses we don't really see. Parasites can be lodged in the crypts of your gut, so they're harder to detect. But if you do find this is the first thing you treat, followed by H. pylori. And then down here, we got some other markers. The key ones would be steatocrit, which would be bile, beta-glucuronidase, which is phase 2 liver, meaning if this is high, you're going to get estrogen dominance. You're going to recirculate estrogen, means some liver dysfunction. Secretory IgA, the mucosal lining in your entire body, from sinuses to mouth to esophagus to gut. There's an inability to mount an immune response. If it's low or if it's too high, it's jacked up for a reason. Calprotectin, we've said if it's super high, I still have not had the time to really look this up, but if it's super high, these docs are referring them out to a GI or a conventional GI person. This we don't need to really worry about. All right, Jasmine. So
C.
C.
difficile
diff,
actually grabbed my eye.
is there a protocol for C. diff?
I don't think I have that protocol, but
There is one we just specifically for C. diff. So yeah, I don't have it off the top of my head, but there's a protocol
yeah.
just for C. diff.
But let me ask you, is that protocol?
Supplements. Well, there's also an argument for doing an antibiotic type treatment
Mm-hmm.
too. So that's the thing with GI. There are this might be where a conventional treatment may move things along quicker and may be preferred by the patient. But if you're not a prescriber, don't have the ability to prescribe, there are some herbal type remedies.
Sac Ballardi, one of them for C. diff.
Sac Boulardi for DC diff. That
In my
sounds
notes.
like it's right. Sac Boulardi is also used for other things, just for repopulating the. I think what Sac Boulardi does is help restore the gut and push C. diff out, not so much directly killing C. diff, like elbowing it out.
H. pylori.
How would you, is there an H. pylori protocol?
I believe there is, but I don't. I know there is. I just
Yeah,
couldn't tell you off the
based
top of my
on
head. I don't have it.
Mastica
mastica
gum.
gum. Of course, there's conventional treatment for it, using antibiotic and some bismuth, different, probably new stuff now I haven't looked into. But of course, when I trained, we would take the stomach out. It's come a long
Well,
way. Vagotomy and antrectomy. But
when it
the H.
comes to
pylori is high on the, so parasite would be the one where you go after them right away. H. pylori is two, where you really have to go after them. Whether or not they have GI symptoms, we can just know that it's a stressor. So let's say the adrenal labs are stressed and you can't find anything except H. pylori. Well, sure, that'll put pressure on your stress response. Again, when you talk to patients, this can put pressure on your stress response. That's why your adrenal labs are off, or your cortisol is high, or your cortisol is low. It's a stress response. So we need to treat your GI tract, so because your stress response is telling us that this is pushing, it's putting pressure.
correct.
That's kind of the way, my understanding of this. Same with dysbiosis. It's just another stressor, produces inflammation, causes oxidative stress. Oxidative stress puts pressure on your glutathione mechanism, which is one of the main players in the human body that you need for resiliency. That's a good word for patients, resiliency, your ability to cope with stress. Who is unstressed in the United States?
Even kids.
No one.
Yeah,
No one.
true.
Food full of poisons, as the Robert Kennedy hearings in the Senate really pushing on the food industry for, yeah, all the food we eat has stressors, all the chemicals outside, all the pollution, you can't avoid it. Emotional stress, just being in relationships, we live stressful lives. So it's amazing that our stress response is as good as it is.